Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and I wanted to do a short little commentary talking about placement games and if they really matter. And at that point you might ask yourself, well, does anything matter, Bro You Whack? Anyway, every couple of seasons, I like to do a video informing new players of how placement games work, or reminding players that have been playing competitive Overwatch for a couple of seasons now of how these placement games really work, because they're playing their placement games and they're going really well. Maybe they're going 5-0, 4-1, or maybe you're going in an open queue and you're going 8-2, 7-3, you know, doing really well, but you're ranking pretty low, like in silver and gold. But you're also seeing other YouTubers, streamers, or even your friends where they play their placement games, they go terrible, yet they're ranking way higher than you. And after doing your placement games for season 24 and after seeing your rank, you're probably saying, Bro You Whack, how come you're so garbage at Overwatch? You lose all your placement games, but you rank higher than me. I don't understand. And first of all, ow, my feelings. But second of all, it's because either A, you don't know how placement games work, or B, you need a swift reminder of how these placement games work, and the longer that you play competitive, the more and more placement games do not matter. In case you guys don't know, the way that placement games work is that it's basically a continuation of your last competitive season, and the more and more competitive seasons that you play, the more and more references that the current placement games take into consideration of what rank you deserve to be at after your placement games. So just because you win 5 of your DPS games does not mean you're going to be ranking at Grandmasters, does not mean you're going to be signing an Overwatch League contract tomorrow, does not mean you're going to be getting every single e-girl in every single Discord server. Trust me, I try! What actually happens is that the hidden Overwatch SR algorithm, also known as MMR, is going to take in consideration where you ended last competitive season. So if we're thinking season 24, we're going to take in consideration where you ended at the end of season 23. And based on your placements, it's going to add or subtract 25 SR per win or loss. So let's use a simple example. At the end of season 23, you ended at exactly 2,000 SR. You barely made that gold threshold. So going into your season 24 placement games, let's say you won 3 games and you lose 2. Based on what I said before, you should add 25 SR for every win and subtract 25 SR for every loss. So if you do that, you end up with a positive 25 SR, and you should roughly end your placements at around 2,025. Roughly. It's not always a perfect exact number. It's not always going to be 25. Sometimes it'll be 20. Sometimes it'll be 27, depending on how good you do. And the more competitive seasons that you play, the more that this reigns true, to the point where you can kind of guess where you're going to be placing based on how good or bad you do in your placement games. But just to really show you that this is how placement games work, unless you're a brand new player or a Smurf account, let me show you where I ended at the end of season 21 and how my placement games went for my season 22 placements, because that's when I actually did my funny moments for season 22. I didn't for season 23, so that's why I'm using this as a reference point. Going in order of tank, DPS, and support, at the end of season 21, I ended at 3,639 for tank, 3,885 for DPS, and 3,202 at support. And for my placement games in season 22, I lost 4, won 1, so I subtract 75. I won 3, lost 2, so I add 25 to my DPS rank. And then for support, I lost 3, won 2, so I subtract 25 SR. So for tank, I should be around 3,564. For DPS, I should be about 3,910. And then for support, I should be about 3,177. And then guess what? At the end of my tank placements, I ranked at 3,547. At the end of my DPS placements, exactly at 3,910. And then for my support placements, I ended at 3,180. There is slight variations for tank and support, especially for tank, but that just goes to show that I did really bad in my tank games because I'm just not a good tank player. So I lost a little bit more than 75, but that's really the only time where placement games matter for me. I'm still gonna be roughly a Masters player for tank and DPS, and still a Diamond player, hopefully, even after my placement games for support. And if you still don't believe me, if we go to my PlayStation account, when we look at my previous competitive season, I ended at 3,052, which is because I play with my Platinum and Gold friends on that account, but then I did a funny moments where I only played by myself, and I won 1, lost 4, so I subtract 75, and I should end around 2,977. Guess where I actually ended up? 2,947. Even though I'm not a platinum DPS player, I still ended up ranking at platinum, even though I did really good. Just goes to show you that they really take in consideration where you ended last competitive season. Now, I do want to clarify that I've been playing competitive on Xbox ever since Season 3, and then on PlayStation ever since, Season 8. So there is a lot of data collected on my profiles, so the variation is not going to be heavily influenced in my placement games, whereas someone who's just started playing in Season 23, 22, 21 might have a little bit of variation, but there's going to be a lot of variation for new players or Smurf accounts where your placement games actually do matter, because then at that point, there is no past references. You haven't played any past competitive seasons, so these placement games do matter because this is the reference point. So if you're playing against a lot of gold and platinum players and you're demolishing them and you're winning all your games, you're probably going to rank pretty high around like diamond or masters. But if you're playing against a lot of silver and gold players, you're losing and you're getting absolutely steamrolled, you're probably going to be ranking at silver and bronze because you're not able to hang at the higher ranks and you're losing. And that's when I can't confidently tell you how placement games work, because it's literally all dependent on how good you do in the games. But if you've been playing for more than a handful of seasons, yeah, Overwatch kind of knows what player you are. So that's why your placement games really don't matter, and why you're still going to be roughly the same rank even if you win all 5 of your placement games. Yeah, you might be 100 to 200 SR higher than where you ended last competitive season. It's because you did really good in your placement games, but really think of your placement games as just a continuation of more competitive games. It's almost as if Season 23 never ended and you just continue to play competitive Overwatch, continue to gain SR or lose SR. Placement games is just a fancy way to introduce a new competitive season to allow you to gain more competitive points. And once you realize that, yeah, placement games just really don't matter. Now, that's not an invitation for you just to throw your placement games because, well, your SR isn't really going to be affected, and it will. Like, if you lose all 5 of your placement games, you're going to rank lower than where you ended last competitive season, but also then the variation of 20 to 30 SR is going to take an effect, and you're going to be losing 30 SR, possibly even 35 SR if you really are throwing your games. So while yes, placement games really don't matter, they do kind of when you're wanting to just gain a little bit more SR than you typically would than if you were just to win a game but not really do all that well. So if you win a game and you do really good in that placement game, you're probably going to gain 28 SR. If you win a game and you do really bad, then you're probably going to only gain 21 SR, and vice versa if you lose the competitive placement game. So anyway guys, hopefully that helps explain to you how placement games work, and if you really do believe that you belong at a different rank, like how I did on my PlayStation account, well, I played OpenQ for the first time, and guess where I ended up? At Masters. Especially if you're on console, it's free to make a Smurf account. So if you really believe that you belong at a different rank, make sure you make a new account, rank it up to 25, play your placement games by yourself. Do not play with anybody else, because that's going to influence who you play against, and that's going to show you what rank you really belong at. But if you're still in denial with the rank that you're at, then I don't know what to tell you. The 25 SR variation based on every single win or loss theory has proven time and time again for me. Maybe it's not proven for you, but more than likely it is, because you wouldn't be complaining about your rank if it wasn't true. So anyway guys, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.